This is the second of my series on be or being. And particularly this week, we're looking at belonging. As was mentioned, Mother's Day, which is a great celebration, can be a very difficult day for many. There are those who have lost their moms. And so with that, there's sometimes great sadness. Others never knew their mothers or perhaps have had difficult or strained relationships. And there are some that perhaps wanted to be a mom, but for whatever reason, it did not happen. Yet there is something we all share on this Mother's Day. That the journey of our life began with a birth mother. Our first breath and the cutting of that umbilical cord. That was our first separation and the start of our own sense of individuality. And yet there is a great importance for all of us to feel a sense of connection. Part of our human experience is kind of this tug and pull between wanting to go off and follow our dreams, our desires, our individuality, balanced with this also a sense, a desire to be connected, tied, a sense of heritage, legacy to who we are. The scriptures are beautiful in the fact that it speaks about the fact that in Christ we have a body. Now this speaks of a universal body that is the church, in which Christians from around the world are brothers and sisters in this family. But it also speaks about the context of a local body of gathered believers, such as a church, such as this church, where we can interact and connect and create bonds that are part of like a spiritual family. That is the nature of the church. Now, I've been a pastor for, hate to say it because it makes me feel like I'm getting old, but over 30 years and about 6 different churches. I grew up in church. And I can tell you, I have had some of my happiest memories in my life with God's people in God's house of worship. I mean, there are times I think back to special moments and special people that just absolutely had importance to mold and make the person that I am. But churches are not perfect. And there have been times looking back over the years of my life in which I've been disappointed, times by which I've been hurt or wounded. And it's because of the nature of the congregation. And I'm not talking about this particular congregation, but the nature of the interaction, the social interaction that takes place within the church. As a family, you may know that you may have great, glorious days as a family, and then there may be days in the family that things are a little rough. But the institution of the church, it's powerful because it's not just this ecclesiastical organization. I think that's why a lot of people are turning away from church, because they see a hierarchy or a programmed or such as that. But what the true nature of the church is much what we've heard this morning. Fellowship, sharing a prayer request and a praise. Because at the core of this, there is a desire to feel that you belong. And we strive here at this church to be open and to receive. It doesn't mean that we always do that, but it's our desire, our passion, to make you feel welcome, at home, with the opportunity to connect. There is a sense in our human spirit of belonging that makes us a part of a better self. And just like we need food and shelter, we need a sense of belonging and need a connection point to help us when we go through life. And the church is a place where we can find that. Well, some may struggle to find a sense of belonging. It can be painful. Some seek belonging through the exclusion of others, and that they reflect this idea that there must be those who belong, but there's also those who do not belong. But yet when this takes place, it undermines one's own self-well-being and creates pain and conflict by creating this judgmental system of who and what, the us versus them. I think each one of us here probably have experienced some form of social rejection, and it can be brutal. Young children, sensitive. Social media, adults, it can be defined by a whole series of criteria that one group or one individual places upon another to isolate, to separate, and that creates pain, not a sense of well-being, of belonging. I have found that when a person has the opportunity to reach out and make a connection, there is risk involved. To go someplace that you're not familiar with, to reach out to someone you may not know very well, to try something for the first time. And you offer yourself with a little bit of degree of vulnerability. And you're hoping and you're praying that there will be a receptiveness, a welcoming spirit. And it's usually very quick before an individual feels as if that's reciprocated, that they feel home, welcomed, and a place to belong. The church should be a place